Dear Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for giving us. Thank you for our time this morning to be able to come together and group and continue to look for opportunities to serve this community. Thankful to have a great police force as we do. I just pray that you'll continue to watch over the men and women that serve us every single day. I'm thankful for their service. I just pray that you'll continue to bless this club. Let us use the resources we have for the good of this community, and thank you that we have that opportunity. I just pray that you'll watch over us. Please bless us food and nourish our bodies. We pray. Amen. Amen. Join the pledge. Pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. So I know we've got a few guests. We've got to meet a couple this morning, so we'll start with guests. Any guests this morning? Yes, sir, Mr. Ford.
So we've got Dave Hammond with us. Met him last week. Talked about getting involved and plugged into the club. So invited him to come hear a good program with our police officers this morning. Lives in North Lake or Wallace area. Wife and an 18-month-old. So welcome, Dave.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Those are different areas.
My high school friends here, we all went to different colleges, but they're back here in Lake Collins now and working full-time, so I'll let them introduce themselves.
Hi everyone, my name is Christian Candler. I graduated from Lake Collins in 2016, then headed up to Arkansas, graduated in 2020, and now I'm living here, not with my parents anymore. So I work for Rusco Packaging, and I'm getting my master's degree from UTD.
My name's Colin Dishman, same kind of story, 2016, went to UT down in Austin, took a yes sir, although they were a terrible football team. And now I'm actually about to move out and move back to Lake Highlands and the Little Rock Elementary area, so very excited for that.
All right.
All right, welcome. Is it Christian and Colin? Thank you. I heard that. Perfect. Good to see you. Any other guests?
Still some pride in these 22 years old. We're a terrible team.
A couple quick announcements.
You hear me doing that.
As we all know, part of our fundraising elements is Oktoberfest in the fall, followed by a spring benefit concert with an auction component. So we're going to talk this morning. Joe's going to come up and remind us of that event and date and ways to serve. Joe.
Thank you, Robert. Good morning, everyone. Thank you. Can I get 2 claps?
Uh-huh.
3 claps. Okay, wow, it's a big morning.
That's for the baby.
Oh, thanks. Appreciate that. Well, good morning. Yes, what I really wanted to share with you guys today is, again, finalizing and locking in that date. So if you have not already saved the date, I need you to get your phones out now. Or better yet, I need you to get a text message draft with your wife. All right? And I need you to text her the date, because that's the calendar we all need to get on, which is the family calendar, your wife's mental calendar, whichever one. So May 22nd, lock it in. Okay, Saturday, May 22nd.
20.
Or 21st.
First.
I don't know why I was thinking 21st. Saturday the 21st.
Lock it in.
I don't know why my brain was thinking the 22nd.
Text Kelly and make sure she locks it in.
Now I'm gonna check. Yeah, 21st. Sorry, guys. Sunday's the 22nd. 21st, May 21st. So lock it in. Spring benefit concert. We are very, very close to locking up our venue as well as the talent. So I'm hoping that at this time next week, I'll be able to have that official announcement with you all. I want to kind of hold it back until I can say it in stone. But I want you to at least lock in that date. Plan on an evening event that night, so just go ahead and lock that in. If you are still interested in serving on that auction committee and benefit concert committee, just reach out, touch base with myself, Robert, and just let us know and send your information my way. We're just getting going on it, so like I said, any hands that we can get on is gonna make for obviously lighter work, but also it's a good time, it's for the kids, guys. We're making money for the kids. So
Alright.
reach out and yeah, go ahead, Mark.
Oh, I'm sorry, Joe. Items, are y'all soliciting us for?
Always.
Stuff?
Hank Stafford is going to be running point this year on procuring those items, both silent and live. So if you know of anyone that has golf, memberships at any country clubs, or you yourself do, you have connections. Those sold like hotcakes last year. So that's going to be a big thing. Any new businesses that you know about in the area that you feel like we can get some, gift certificates or promos, whatever for that we can get in there. The silent auction is huge, but also locking up some big ticket live auction items like we have had in the past is going to be the main focus. So kind of getting creative, getting within your network, obviously here in Lake Highlands, and seeing what we can do to really make the auction component of this event as profitable as possible. The goal is not to have any consignment. We haven't had consignment in a couple of years now, and if we can get to where we have been the last 2 years on that live auction, as far as the profitability goes, I think we're going to be in great shape. So start getting creative, think about that, and get with me or Hank on any of those either silent or live auctions. Good question, Mark. Appreciate that. Anything else before I turn it back over? That's a longer announcement than I wanted it to be. But all right, thank you guys.
All right.
Yes, so any silent live sponsorship, any opportunities, we will gladly take. So as we talked about before, similar to Oktoberfest, the idea on the sponsorship side is to have sponsors for the event. So we go into the event net positive. So sponsorship will be a key as well. So we're talking about May, just a couple of dates throughout there so you can start thinking about. May 6th, which is Friday, will be our Youth of the Year. And so ACE Awards and all that program. It'll either be here or the high school, depending on the state of what we can and can't do. The following week, May 13th, is the scholarship breakfast. So that's our big scholarship breakfast announcement for the high school. That'll be at the church this year?
Yes.
Perfect.
Reserved.
So that will not be here, it'll be at the church. So all the details will come. Point was just to circle that date as if you're planning your schedule that far in advance. So it's a great meeting to attend. And it lets everybody kind of see all the work we do throughout the year and get to reward some outstanding students. So those two dates, along with the 21st, not 22nd, are coming up. So one other program note, because of scheduling conflicts and whatnot in January, you probably noticed we did not have a youth program. So we will kick that back off next Friday, the 4th. So we'll be back with youth next week. So any other announcements we've left off? Good to see Councilman Magoo. Talked to him this morning. Most of what he would talk about will be covered this morning. So he is around if you'd like to talk to him. And not see anything else, I'll turn over to Mr. Boyd. And great to see Mr. Boyd as well. So.
Hey.
Thank you. It is good to be back. I appreciate it. Working on my neck adjustment, getting a little taller, so it's good stuff. So this morning we are welcoming Major Danny Williams, who is the Northeast Commander. Major Williams took charge of our division last year for 35 years with the Dallas Police Force. During that time, Major Williams has worked in and led many different areas in SWAT, Vice, and the equally exciting Central Business Office. When Major Williams first took over the division up here, we knew what it looked like last year. Murder was up, crime was up, things were not that great. Plus there was a brand new chief, which is always a very big time of uncertainty for the department. Well, what do things look like now? I'll let Major Williams tell that story. And also, kind enough to join us on his first day of a 2-week vacation. So let's get on
Morning.
I want to say thank you to the staff that prepared this wonderful breakfast. We always look forward to coming to the quarterly awards so we can sit down and have a great breakfast. And second, I want to say thank you guys for inviting me. You know, it's organizations like this, and I haven't experienced it anywhere. I've worked in the city of Dallas, the way the communities actually come out and support the police department. We have a lot of great communities in the city of Dallas, and I just want to say that you guys really stand out. It was something that I hadn't experienced until I got over here in April of this year. So it was a really, really good move for me. I've been happy these last 10 months, and looking forward to continuing being happy over at Northeast Patrol Division. And talking about Northeast Patrol Division, then I'll just tell you just a little about myself. I just wanted to go over some of the things that we do at Northeast. When I got out there, I saw a system at Northeast already in place that I saw nowhere on the police department. I actually came from the capers, crimes against persons divisions, where everything down there, it runs like a machine. When I got to Northeast Division, it was comparable, and that made my job a lot easier. I actually have my intelligence officer, Kevin Kelly, here with me this morning, and he and my crime analyst and my FTO sergeant, they put everything in front of me that I need for whatever meeting I need to go to. I feel comfortable when I'm going to meetings because I know because of them I have the information that I need. All I need to do is either read it or remember it. So a couple other things I want to talk about also. So at Northeast Patrol Division, we have what you call SRO officers, school resource officers. Councilman Magoo was very instrumental in making sure that we had a force of SRO officers that was comparable to what we needed. I think now we have about 9 SRO officers, and that went up from either 5 or 6. That was very impressive. We have 6 schools in the Richardson School District, and you know, we go about our lives looking at the street crime and what's going on, robberies, burglaries, shootings, and things like that. But my SRO Sergeant Wilson, put things on my desk that's happening in the school. Boy, we are glad that we can keep that from you guys. And they handle it. So I really appreciate the fact, Captain Magoo, that we maintained the SRO officers and we increased the number of them. And like he was said, my name is Danny Williams. This is my 36 year service. Actually, I got 35 years, September 29th. I joined September 29th, 1986. And what's ironic about that is my son joined September 29th, 2010. I'm like, son, you can't do everything your dad. So I'm really glad that he's joined me on the police department. We really have a lot of good times, you know, this uniform and being able to take a picture in this uniform with your son, man, that's something else. I do have one question. Chris, what school did you go to in Arkansas?
The University of Arkansas, Fayetteville.
Oh man, you should have went to University of Central Arkansas.
Really disagree.
The Hawks are great also. They really are. Yeah. And something else that he mentioned earlier, where our crime is. We ended the year with over like 5.8% reduction in crime just at the Northeast Patrol Division. Today we set at violent crime down 18% and nonviolent crime down 12%. So we have about a 10.5% reduction in crime as we set. Now the year started off kind of rocky, especially with business robberies and individual robberies. Remember, as we came out of the pandemic, you know, when we went into the pandemic, business robberies were really down because the businesses weren't open. And so we were shooting like a 30% decrease in business robberies. Now things are kind of changing, and we have a few. We've had a few sprees in the Northeast area, and my intelligence officer and my crime analyst have helped our guys, our crime response team guys and undercover deployment guys. They've helped them to actually catch these people, and all the robberies that they were doing weren't in the Northeast Patrol Division. So we're actually helping out the city and we're collaborating and things like that. It's really good to see our crime response team officers, deployment officers, our neighborhood patrol officers. Neighborhood patrol officers are still stationed at the Northeast Patrol Division, but now their command is centrally located and it's downtown. So that started in about, I guess, May, and it took a little getting used to. We really didn't know how it was gonna work out, but the staff that they had downtown and the patrol division just wanting to make it work, and the neighborhood patrol officers wanting to make it work. It hadn't been seamless, but it's really a good deal, so we're proud of the way that works. What our neighborhood patrol officers have been tasked with is making sure that they are accessible to the communities and that the communities know who they are when we have these small problems or nagging problems, the problems that never go away. The neighborhood patrol officers is that component that makes sure that the department is in tune with these smaller things that's going on, and we can put whatever resources that we need to put on there. Some of the places that I've been, I mentioned that Chief Avery Moore, he called me, what was it? I think October of 2019, asked me to come down to the investigative division. And I went down and I was over units such as homicide, sex assaults, robberies, youth operations, EOD, and that was a really great experience. I hadn't been on that side before as a commander. I had been a detective before in assaults, and the youth division assaults, I think, was like 1997, and the youth division was in 1996. So you see how long ago that was. So it was really a great opportunity to be able to command one of the premier bureaus in the Dallas Police Department. I really loved it, and I was kind of, I didn't know how I was going to feel about leaving it, but like I mentioned to you guys earlier, Northeast really stood up and welcomed me with open arms from the first day. And I feel kind of, I was confident as I was meeting the public anyway, because I had this great group in place at Northeast who made sure that I had everything that I needed. So I was able to discuss the things that I needed to discuss with the community from day one. So that was fantastic. I also commanded the SWAT unit for about 2 years. That was very interesting. Great learning curve, but you're out there so much. You're out there so much, and you're training so much, and you're meeting so many different agencies, whether they're federal agencies or other cities, and you're collaborating and assisting. You can't do anything but learn. And before I get off of it, I'm talking about federal agencies. Another thing that Councilman McGoo is very instrumental here in the Northeast Patrol Division is our Project Safe Neighborhood. And Project Safe Neighborhood is a task force basically that's partnered with the FBI. Everything that they do, they're partnered with the FBI, but our officers are at our stations and they're doing the cases that we're working here in the city of Dallas. What Project Safe Neighborhood goes after is gangs, guns, and drugs. So when we have, this week earlier, we had Operation Shut Corner, and that's something that it involved Hamilton Park area gang members who were basically involved in murder, assault, and drug dealing. Dallas Police Department, along with the DA and FBI, this week were able to arrest 20 of these individuals. That was fantastic. I'm glad we had Project Safe Neighborhood at our division. Currently, this is the only division that it is at. We're hoping that, of course, the federal agencies will spread that out throughout the city, because we need it in a lot of different areas. But these individuals that was arrested the day before yesterday, they also were involved, had some involvement in the shooting that occurred in Hammond Park area July 4th. It was just great to get those type of individuals off the street, and it was great for us to be a part of it. I know everybody has to go to work, so I want to give you guys an opportunity. If you have any questions for me about specific things or particular things, I know I talked to a couple of people earlier this morning. I'm here to answer any of your questions.
Where's the current hotspot? So I know that Forest and Adelia was, but there's been a ton of cleanup work done there. It may still be part of an issue, but where's the current hotspot in Northeast?
And just let me talk about Forest, and I'll tell you for just a second. Again, Councilman Magoo, we're all familiar with the little park that we put in there at Forest and Ardelia. It lasted for about 30 days, but the property that they had out there is still there. So what we had to do at Forest and Ardelia is put a special assignment out there that was 24 hours. That's just how difficult it was out there. There's an electrical box right there at Forest and Ardelia that open air drug sales goes on constantly. Shootings goes on there. We've had murders there. We shut all of that down. We went inside of the apartment complexes with our community prosecutors and other agencies, including Office of Homeless Solutions, and we just hit that area over and over and over again. And you said it really lightly, but I'm telling you, when you say Forest and Ardelia has been, basically taken care of, it was a lot of effort. It was a lot of effort. Now we start to look at things. Another thing we done last year during that same time was the 9019 Vantage Point. I think you have the budget suites down there and a couple of apartments. People coming in, leaving, doesn't care anything about the neighborhood, causing havoc for everything that's around the neighborhood. Again, we put our CRT guys, and we also work with the gang unit and sometimes SWAT unit to just go out and hit that area. What we want to do now is the Walnut area, just up from Forest and Ardelia, near Richardson, and we actually talked to the Richardson Police Department also, because as I talked to Chief Tittle, who used to be a chief here in Dallas and now is the chief there, when we have our shootings on Walnut, this council people hear them, and they're like, what's going on over there? So now we formed a task force, and we plan to start meeting this year to kind of collaborate with the city of Richardson just for that particular area. One of the big things that the city is looking for, and they actually developed a plan for when you look at the homelessness and you look at 75 and Forest Lane and so many other areas throughout the city. The city's plan to combat the homelessness and make sure that the citizens are a little more comfortable being in their own spaces is basically using other city departments. The leading department is the Office of Homeless Solutions, and then our neighborhood patrol officers, along with so many other agencies in the city. What they're doing is, because a big part is the fact that homelessness is not a crime, and perception is important to everyone. The Offices of Homeless Solutions are in constant collaboration with the police department, and what they're doing is making sure that as they go to each one of these homeless encampments, and they go back again and again and again, they're getting every name of everybody that frequents that particular homeless encampment. And when they get their names, what they're doing is making sure that they offer them the services that they need. They're offering them a place to stay. They're offering whatever services they need. They'll take them or they don't take them. But once they're offering them those services, now what we are to do is to try to find a way to finagle them away from that location. And you kind of see the concept here, right? The city is offering you alternatives. You're not taking those alternatives. Now, the police department needs to come and finagle you. And it is not arresting away. We had a meeting earlier this week with a strip mall owner, and we were talking about the criminal trespass affidavits. And he said, wait a minute, you're telling me that if a homeless guy is on my property and we have a criminal trespass affidavit because he's homeless, you wouldn't move him because of perception? And the answer was no, because we understand that we're still attentive to that complainant, the guy who has a person on his property that he doesn't want there. We're gonna do what we should do. We're gonna issue him a criminal trespass warning, and the second time if he's there, we're gonna put him in jail. But the big point is, we won't use criminal trespass affidavits or anything else to manage the homeless. So those are two separate things, and the perception that the police department wants to give is make sure that we understand that homelessness is not a crime, but still we understand that you guys who are calling about the chaos on your property or near your property, you know, is very important. And so with other agencies in the department, we're trying to find a way to handle it. And another thing is panhandling. There is, I think, maybe one ordinance that we can enforce as far as panhandling at this point. But so many of those ordinances they have an injunction because of free speech and things like that. Now, when you see them at the stoplights, we can enforce it. They're getting out in the street. Do we really want to do that? We can't enforce them being aggressive. Now, that's something that we do want to do, but seeing a homeless person in the street and arresting them all, or citing them all when they don't have jobs is something that we would rather find another way of getting to the things that we need to get to, right? Somebody did ask me about earlier the racing and speeding. That's becoming an issue in the city of Dallas. So has road rage. We've actually, earlier this week, we had 6 assaults on, I think it was Tuesday. We had a total of 6 assaults for the day. 3 of them single assaults, and then you had 1 road rage where 3 people were shot at. So that is an issue. And when you talk about the racing and speeding, that is an issue. And there's 2 types of racing and speeding. You can get racing and speeding going up and down Ferguson Road, just 2 people, where unfortunately the lady was struck and hit. And then I think the next week we had something happen. But there's also a type of racing and speeding called a takeover racing and speeding. It's where you have hundreds of cars. They advertise on social media and they meet up. What the Dallas Police Department has done is put together a racing and speeding task force, and they've also put together a road rage task force. The road rage has slacked off a bit, but the racing and speeding is still a big issue. We have had legislation to change. You know, we would go out there and the only thing that we could do was actually ticket or put the person in jail that was racing and speeding. Well, that legislation has changed, and now we're at a point where we can tow cars, we can cite spectators, we can put people in jail that's obstructing, so we can't get to the people that's racing and speeding. So a lot has changed. I think Chief Boyd runs that, and I was sitting in our Comstead meeting, and I was amazed. About a month ago, they had a gigantic racing and speeding operation, and he was reciting how they put 14 people in jail, and the big thing was they towed 70 cars. So it was a lot of people leaving that location without cars. I thought, that's great. I thought we'd never get to this point. I thought we'd never get to it. If you kind of remember, they had a deal in Houston, Texas, probably about 15 years ago, 12, 15 years ago, where it was sort of a racing and speeding type thing, and they was on a big Walmart parking lot, or it might have been K-Bar, I can't remember. But the Houston Police Department, to diffuse what was going on out there, they kind of blocked the cars in that parking lot so they could do just what we're able to do now, which is tow cars and put people in jail. And they shouldn't have done it at that point. What I'm saying is now the legislation is beginning to change, and it's giving us more tools where we can stop these takeover type races and speeders and make sure that the communities are safer. Any questions? Yes, sir.
Mayor, we all know about the mayor had his crime reduction task force. Now we've got Chief Garcia, he's got his initiatives. If we're just driving around Northeast, you know, what are the visible signs of those types of initiatives with that? How are we implementing those locally? What should we be looking for, and how can we help support any of those initiatives, either from the task force of the mayors or Chief Garcia's?
So Chief Garcia's task crime plan basically looks at hot spots, and these hot spots was developed through University of Texas, San Antonio professors, and we collaborate with them weekly. We've actually got a complete administrative unit headed by Major Paul Junger downtown that's in constant contact with them. What they've done is looked at crime from the way that it occurred in particular points last year and then determine this year where officers need to be at particular times. And we're calling them grids. So as we go through since May of last year and responding to those grids, one type of grid is called a 588 grid. That particular grid, it requires an officer to be at that location for 15 minutes, the lights on. Really light deployment. And then there was a lot of 5-8B grids. What this requires is basically our CRT groups or our SRT groups to go to that location and stay 45 minutes with the intelligence package. They already know who they're looking for there. They know what the crime charge is going on there. They know who lives there. They're actively looking for those guys, and they're going to spend 45 minutes there. Of course, if they find them, they'll probably spend longer, but if not, they're going to move on to one of those other 588 locations. We have 5AB locations. We have 5 588 locations and 6 58B locations. This is the second phase of it. So our grids, 588As and 58Bs, have changed from the way that they started. The 58As and 58Bs in the initial stage was a huge success. What the professors have done now is narrow those grids down. We have more effective grids that we're working on now. So these grids are harder, but the professors learn just like we actually learn. And I think it's really paying off. Like I say, we did have a decrease in crime at the end of the year. And as we talk now, Northeast has like maybe 11% decrease in crime. So everybody got on board with the chief's crime plan. And that was fantastic. And what I like to compare it to personally is you guys are aware of what Right Care is, right? The Right Care is a group that came up 2018. A police officer, a fireman, and a parkland clinician are in a vehicle together, and they're responding to what we call 46A calls. Those are people, mental distress, calls over and over and over again, and may need any type of service whatsoever. So now you have a clinician there, you got a police officer there, and you got a fireman there to help them if there's a medical need or whatever. So we rolled that out in 2018 at South Central Patrol Division as a pilot program. The officers was not having it. They wanted to make the decision about what needs to happen on this particular call, and they didn't want a very junior police officer and a fireman and a clinician determining what needs to happen. But there was guidelines. This was all through the Meadows Foundation. What we had to do was sell that plan to those officers. I remember so many details. I'm sitting down in and the officer saying, well, this happened and this is supposed to be like this, and they said, I'm like, well, that's not true. You just have to make sure that they understand what the process is. And we had to do that same thing with this crime plan. And unfortunately, the officers at Northeast were all over the department, really caught on to the chief's new crime plan more quickly than Right Care did. But they caught on to Right Care also, because at this point, rather than it being a pilot program, Right Care is at each one of the 7 patrol divisions. So it was basically assessing success, and we're rolling along. The big thing in the beginning with Right Care was, this was make sure that the call load would calm down, right? We wouldn't have those repeat calls from people that's mentally challenged. They could take care of that. And then all of a sudden it turned into a humanitarian type deal. We're really taking services to those people out there. The clinicians are keeping records. Some of the times the call, we don't even have to go on them because they can call them for their car and just pull up what their records are. So it's been a great deal all over. And I think the crime plan is great also. Now, we did experience multi-year crime reduction when Chief Brown was here. Probably about 10. We had 3,700 police officers. We're hitting about 3,100 now. So there's big differences. Times have changed, and there's a scarcity of personnel, in law enforcement at this point. So with, fewer personnel, you have to dig down into your tool basket, and that's what Chief Garcia did. He went to the university and said, help us out. And immediately they helped us out, and, we've got a board. Yep.
Is there any opportunity of recruiting in some of these cities like New York, Chicago, Seattle, whatever, where it's a mess, police, I would think about the lead to bring them down to Texas and Dallas. Is that, y'all look at that?
Yeah, so I'm not really versed on it, but I have had a couple of conversations. Chief Angela Shaw, she was over that unit. She really told me some, and this is like maybe a year ago, told me some things that I hadn't even thought about doing that they were doing in the personnel division. And as other things open up, you know, coming out of a protest period, coming out of a pandemic period, coming out of a defund the police period, I'm sure that, you know, our personnel division is keeping up with the times and they're redeploying their strategies. You know, that was a very, very, very short period of time when the police department stopped recruiting, and today that still hurts us. But we're coming back up. We were down to, when Chief Hall was here, 2,800 police officers, and now we're over 3,100. And our Chief Bill Griffin is over personnel now as a 1-star. He's doing a great job of pulling out all the stops and making sure that the department's in the best position they can be in to move forward. So I'm confident that as we move along, we'll continue to fill our classes. And that was another thing. So pandemic period, we're having tops 25 people in the class. We might have 3 classes out there that may have been 1. I went to a retirement yesterday, Officer Sergeant Babels. He was in class 232. That's 30 years ago, but I'm telling you, they passed fast. He was in 232, and they had 68 people in their class. Well, during pandemic, you know, that's 3 different classes, and that hurt us just like it hurt everybody else. But really, with Bill at the helm, he reports the numbers out every CompStat. You can see that we're getting back to where we need to be. I don't know if we'll get to 3,700, because I'll tell you, Chief David Brown was very innovative, and he talked to the city council, and he convinced them into overhire and to over-promote, and you wouldn't have to promote as much. And we ended up with 3,700 people. That was great. It was at least a 10-year, consecutive year reduction in crime. But we haven't saw those numbers in a long time. We haven't saw 3,700 police officers in a long time. All right, before I go, I just want to say again, I really appreciate the opportunity to come up here and actually talk to you guys. Anytime the police department gets an opportunity to talk to the citizenry, hey man, we need to jump on it. You guys can know some of the things that we're doing, we can know some of the issues or thoughts that you have on your mind, and it helps us to better deploy our resources. So thanks a lot, everybody.
Door prize.
Yeah, a little door prize.
For the vacay.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. All right.
So thanks again, Major Williams, for being here. Really do appreciate the time this morning. Thanks to our guests, Dave, Christian, Colin. Thank you for being here. Welcome anytime. One thing I forgot to mention earlier. So last Thursday, had a great program, which was our past president's panel, celebrating our 60th anniversary. Thank you to Carlin for kind of emceeing that night. But if you weren't able to make it and would like to see it, go find the newsletter. Thanks to Rick, it is in there. You can watch the program. It was great to hear stories and kind of recapping different events and whether it was fundraising or recruiting or all the different things that has gone on. So go back and watch that. It's great. A few minutes there. So once again, spring benefit, May 21st. So put that down if you'd like to serve. Please reach out to myself or Joe. Think about items and sponsorship opportunities. So anything else we've left off today? Seeing none, we are adjourned. Have a great Friday.